Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second edition of the 4th Region Report. I'm Coach Jay Hurt, and with me, the main man for this particular show, Chris Huffman, and then also the main man for the KY Sports Guys joining us today for the first time is the Stock Tony. Let's start with Chris. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing wonderfully. The Stock Tony, you?
Oh, I'm just fine, man. New year, new podcast.
Just want to check in and make sure everybody's doing well. I know we all got
How
more.
are you doing?
I'm doing. Thank you. I
really
didn't.
fishing for that.
I was hard, and yet it was so delayed in getting there. But
And it's January the 3rd. How's y'all's New Year's resolutions going already?
over.
My resolution is to not make it anymore.
Oh,
Going great
so you've been successful.
so far.
Yeah, I made a couple. I'm 0 for 2. So, but you?
Well, I forgot to make any this year, so I can't break them that way.
We are going to talk a little 4th Region hoops, both boys and girls. We do want to give a shout out to our partners in crime all the way from the eastern part of the state. Stock Tony?
The Bluegrass basketball, Bluegrass B-ball round ball report. Am I getting that right?
It's somewhere in that vicinity. It's at Bluegrass B-Ball.
At
Is that
Bluegrass
right?
B-ball. Kayla Moore Van Hoos.
We appreciate them very much. And if you want any of your out in the state information, that's the place to go. They have a website. They have the Twitter feed, and they have all the goods there for all your high school hoops needs.
For any Levitard listeners, they've got the goods, dude.
I would like to get a poll going on that. How many Levitard listeners do you think are going to be checking in with the 4th Region Roundup? One?
Probably me. Yeah.
Possibly. Let's talk some hoops. Chris, get us up to date. We've had Christmas tournaments, both pre and post, and now we're heading into what I would consider to be the meat of the season. January starts us downhill towards the All-A, and then also towards the regional tournament.
It's kind of like, we mentioned on our last podcast, this, in my mind, as a former coach, starts the second season. You have your first season, gets you up to Christmas break, through your Christmas tournament. You start the second part of your season, and then the season ends, and you go back to 0-0 when that district tournament starts. So that's the third part. But if you look, now that Christmas tournament's over, it seems like record-wise, some teams have kind of sort of pulled away during the Christmas tournaments. They went out on their own, and we'll be able to see tonight as teams start playing their district games and their regional games and start back in those competitions tonight. We'll start seeing things even out and who's going to come to the top and how things are going to play out for the remainder of the year. But if you go back and you look over there at the 13th with Logan, Russellville, Todd, and Franklin Simpson, basically you got Logan now 9-3. They played in 2 really good tournaments over Christmas break. They got a bunch of wins. I think they went into that tournament something like 1-3, and they won 8 games straight out there in the 2 tournaments they were at. Russellville's broke even or at 500 with 4-4, and then you got Todd at 2-9 and Franklin Simpson at 4-6. I think there's a district game out there tonight in the 13th, and then of course you got Todd playing Metcalf on January the 13th, a week from Monday, to start the Class A tournament, which we all know based on our experiences as coaches and as players, anything can happen when you get into that Class A tournament because everybody on the same field and the same average of attendance school-wise. So what do you think, Josh, about
I'm
the 13th?
sorry, but this one, too, we're going to be going to Todd to play them on their home court. Even though it's a tournament, it's going to be at Todd the first round. So, again, that's another thing that can change the dynamics.
I do think it's interesting when you look at that district. When we first did this, Chris, you just couldn't tell. There were some upsets early. There were some crazy scores. Franklin Simpson goes to Clinton and wins. Franklin Simpson goes to Monroe and loses, and you just couldn't kind of figure things out. But I think your point's exactly right. We're starting to see this thing shake out, and I think it's shaking out like most of us would have thought. Logan County, like you say, has stepped to the forefront there in their district on the boys' side. Real quick, let's flip it over to the Bowling Green district. And again, even though you had the upset, Glasgow upset in Warren Central and so forth, I think that district as well, as strong as it is starting to shake out.
Oh, I completely agree. You've got Bowling Green and South Warren. It's kind of record-wise moving toward the top. And then you got Greenwood. Greenwood took a bad loss over at Russell County, and but then they come back and they beat Bowling Green. So, they've come back and they've got some really good wins of late and improved their record to 7-5. and which I think is in that district. I think those are the three teams that you're probably going to look. But Warren Central 6-2, and has played some really good schools outside of their district in the region in some tournaments that they're in. They went over to Ashland. They played at South Oldham. So they've played some teams away from here to get a little bit of experience that's going to help them, I think, later on. So I'm not so sure that you can rule them out when it comes down to district tournament play.
Yeah, in fact, I think Warren Central would be one of your favorites for sure. I saw where they picked up a good win over Bullitt East just last time out. Your Warren East group, probably the younger squad, the team that's kind of on the outside looking in, but they did get a victory over Christmas, so they're in the win column as well. Congrats to Coach Brandon Combs. They did. They beat Christmas. They're the first people to do it. Christmas was undefeated
It's a tough one
at the time, but they were able to come back and get it done. Go over to the 15th, Allen, Barron, Glasgow, Monroe. Again, you got Barron and Glasgow going at it tonight. Rivalry game, but it should be a game that'll give us a better idea of that one.
Oh, I completely agree. This is a game that if you're not playing tonight, it's a game just to go watch. I mean, the atmosphere, when you put Barron and Glasgow in the same gym, regardless whether it's at Barron or Glasgow, and you got the dog pound down there yelling and screaming and doing the antics that they do and different things, there's no doubt the atmosphere is excellent. With Barron, they were at South Warren for the Rafferty shootout and played Meade County and some other schools down there that were really nice ball clubs. Got a win over Meade County. Then they go to South Laurel and play a team out of Ohio, get beat by 7 by that team, and play Russell County and handle them pretty easily by 23. And then Bell County, not 100% sure how Bell County is, but they beat Barron by 6. So they took 2 losses in their tournament, but they played some teams that they typically aren't going to play, and we don't know a whole lot about. And so you think those 2 teams right there are going to be battling it out for that championship over there in the 15th. Allen, however, has a pretty good record. They just, they're 7-5. But, they've had wins at Warren East. They've had wins with Bullitt Central. They've got some pretty good wins on their record there, but it's just not quite – I don't think they're quite in the same league as Barron and Glasgow when push comes to shove. However, that 2-3 matchup in that district could be interesting over there because it'll be between Allen and Barron or Allen and Glasgow. So that will be an interesting game to watch, and definitely going to want the number 1 seed when it comes to that district.
You come over to the 16th and you start talking about the hometown of our very own, the Stocktony, Albany, and I assume the people over there are still excited about their boys' hoops. You thought the guys might fall off. We didn't. We said we thought they'd be pretty good, and they have been pretty good, sitting at 9 wins as they head towards January. Not the same firepower without a Stockton or without a Harlan. Not you, Stockton.
No, I didn't provide a whole lot of firepower.
Back in the day. But hey, you played for a district champion.
Yeah, that's true.
But still.
It's a different type of firepower.
Exactly, coming from Stockton. Exactly.
Coming from Stockton, yes.
But Clinton's, they're good again.
Clinton right now, it's difficult to tell with this district. We're the only school in the district that has played all 3 teams. You got Cumberland is 1-1, Russell County's 1-0, Clinton's 2-0. So the Russell Clinton County games won't happen till one's next week, and then one's late January. So it's difficult to tell how that's going to shape out. But again, in my opinion, this district's wide open. I think at any given time, any of the 4 teams can come and put 2 games together in a row and win this district. So it's, Cumberland, as we said before, is really athletic. They're really athletic. When they're hitting their shots and their athleticism is going, they're hard to beat. They played 2 games over Christmas in a tournament and scored over 90 points in both games. So, and then they turn around in the 3rd game and score 30 points. So, their athleticism, when their athleticism is working and along with their shooting, they're going to be difficult for anybody to beat, no matter who you are putting up 90-some points. Metcalfe County went and had a really good tournament over at Williamstown, won 2 games down there and got beat by a really good Breathitt County team in the first round. And, we traveled 4 hours or whatever and played right off the bus. So tough game for them. But, typically right now, Clinton's sitting at 9-5 and 2-0 in the district. I think they got the lead, and that's going to be the team to ultimately beat when push comes to shove. They've, for the lack of better terms, they've kind of sort of owned this district for the last 4 or 5 years. And sometimes in high school kids' minds, that's just whether you're the best team or not. That's hard to get over for the opposing teams.
2 quick questions. I'll start with this one. Between the time we did the first show and the time that we've gotten to here, there have been a lot of games that have come and gone. Give me a team that you think from that time and over Christmas has established themselves and maybe is moving up the ranks as far as their strength or their position. Give me a team that you like, that you're – what's the word when you're gambling? You're high on this team, but there's a word for that. It doesn't matter.
It's hard to tell when none of us gamble. So
well, that's true. Exactly.
Entertainment
purposes only. Well said. But the point is, give me a team that you think is on the way up.
I think you have to look at Greenwood and Logan.
Mm-hmm.
Greenwood took some bad losses early. They've rebounded and had some really nice victories of late. And then Logan has took a stretch in there of some winning now. Not 100% sure about the quality of teams that Logan's been playing, but I think you have to look at Logan and Greenwood as far as you knew Bowling Green and Warren Central were going to win games and going to move forward. You knew South Warren was going to do that, and Barron and Glasgow, But I think when you look at the teams that's played the best over the last 2-week period, it's probably Logan and Greenwood, looking at the teams that they beat and what they did in their Christmas tournaments. Now, how they respond when they come back and start playing tonight on the first Friday night back after the Christmas tournaments will be the tell. Can you get in your district and in your region and stay there and keep the momentum that you got from those Christmas tournaments? Now I got a question for you.
Okay, let's hear it.
If you're looking at the 2 teams that are on the move and are on the rise, and you got Bowling Green, you got South Warren out there and Warren Central out there, who's the sleeper?
Region-wide?
Region-wise, who's the sleeper? Who's the team that everybody needs to watch and say, this is going to happen? I have my pick.
I'll give you the homer answer. I like us.
That's what I'm saying.
I really do. I like how we're playing. I don't think we have a weak spot on the floor that you can just necessarily target right away. It doesn't mean that we have great players at every spot, but we have good players at every spot. You go and win 4 out of 6 in the Christmas season. I know Midcast's 0-3 in the district, but I'm not sure that doesn't play to our advantage as you go further down the road. I think eventually we're going to win some games and beat some people. So, I don't know. I'd be hard-pressed to find somebody besides the Hornets to fit that. Stock Tony, you got?
Well, I think this, we've said it, Chris just said it earlier, we said it on the radio, the 16th district is so wide open. The 16th district tournament, I can't wait for it. I can't wait to be there because I think any other 1-4 matchup or top-to-bottom matchup is not going to be that great. This one, they're all going to be good. All the games are going to be good, close games where anybody can come out victorious. And I think the Hornets, as you mentioned, going in maybe that 0-3, maybe people look at that and underestimate a little bit, and they shouldn't because these guys are playing well. They bought in, and they're as long as everything, stay out of foul trouble and a few of those things, those guys are looking good. And I like what you said. They go 4-6 over the 4-2 over the break. That's putting it together.
Did we step on your? Was that where you were going to go?
Oh, that's it.
That's what we do here.
I'm going to concur with both of you on
Exactly.
that. I think the big thing for me with the Hornets are I see players finding themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I see Wyatt Fields, a 6'6" kid that's got athletic ability and jumping. I see him now scoring 15, 16 points a game and doing it consistently as he's done over the last 5 or 6 games. I see a lot of players we got that people are going to overlook. They're going to overlook Metcalfe County. They're going to look at us based on our previous past records. We can't do this now. Does that mean that we're going to step right here and win every game all the way out? We're going to throw some bombs because we're still young, ultimately, with a group of sophomores. But I do feel, I agree with you all. I think we're the sleeper. I think we're the one in the back. I think we're around that 5th or 6th team in the region that's out there that can win this thing. And having said that, though, playing in the 16th with the 4 teams that's in the 16th, if you don't come to play, you might never get a chance at the region because there's not a given team that's going to walk away here with a district tournament. It's at Russell this year, so you're going to give a little bit of advantage to them because, in my opinion, I think that's probably the toughest gym to play in. If I played in Clinton's and I played in Cumberland's different things years ago. And of course, Stockton, you played in there, and we saw how
A
well
little.
we saw how well you shot in there. But
Put up 64 in the church league game. Is that
right.
a different
That
gym?
was
or?
that was in
I'm sorry.
Monticello. I think it's one of those elementary school gyms.
But that was.
Tile floor.
But in church league, don't they have the 4 and 5 point shot? You know, you get a 4
That's
points
it.
No,
for
we
you get
played-
4 points for a layup and 5 points for a 6 footer, right?
It was a 40 hour game, not a 40-minute game.
You know, when they quit playing games at the Joe Harrison Carter multi-purpose room, I was out. That's when my scoring went away. So,
But
you remember those old gyms? Those were fun.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The
Yeah,
multi- we
exactly.
talked about
Yeah,
on the show
you'd
on that.
have to go across one line, and then you could go back to the other to be over and
It's too
back.
short.
So yeah, those good
Sparksville.
times.
And most of those old gyms had the old tile floor like
Yeah,
you've got
oh,
in
yeah.
the blue gym down
Yeah,
there. And,
take a charge on that sucker.
yeah, exactly. There's not many charges taken years ago
No.
on the tile floor.
No.
Let me
Nobody
ask
wanted
you,
to hit
do you-
the floor on
Do you
that.
prefer taking a charge on the tile floor or the rubberized floor? Because that would take
Oh,
skin.
the
with it.
rubberized floor. You talk about some skin burns. Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yeah, Lindsey Wilson College has the rubberized floor.
Really?
It's not a whole lot of fun. They did years ago when we played there, and wasn't a whole lot of fun to play on.
The end result here, of course, and if you're listening and you're not a Metcalfe County part, we're all three Metcalfe County people. In fairness, we haven't seen everybody live and in person. We're going by Ryherd scoreboard. We're going by comparative scores. We're looking around, and obviously we've seen us more than anybody else.
Well, let me ask you this, just kind of counterintuitively. Warren Central loses to Glasgow. Was everybody expecting Warren Central to win every game this year? Because when they lost, I feel like it was a sea change, and everybody sort of maybe got off the Warren Central bandwagon a little bit. But aren't they still, as we mentioned, maybe the favorites?
I think they're still the favorite, even though you look at, when you look at the scoreboard on the high school website, athletic website, they've moved Bowling Green kind of sort of to the forefront with the wins and losses. And when you look at that, I don't really know exactly how they rank those, because it's clearly not by season records, because when you look at it, they've got teams at the very bottom. So, they've now moved Bowling Green in the front when everything preseason come out with Warren Central being a dog. But now I think that goes back to clearly Warren Central probably has the best player in the region. I think when you look at that, I know everybody's going to argue. Glasgow folks are going to argue and tell you they don't, and Bowling Green's will argue and say that they don't. But they've got that one definite player down there that can play.
It's interesting because I think they've started ranking based on the football stuff, the RPI, and I don't know what kind of configuration or algorithm they put into.
That turned out to be really easy to understand.
Yeah,
toward the end,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, sure. and I hate stuff like that. Of course, I'm a small school guy, and I remember years ago I was at Gallatin County. It was Gallatin, Trimble, and Carroll, all small schools in the same district as Oldham and South Oldham. There was no North Oldham at the time, but they're bigger schools. And you know how those district meetings get when coaches go back and forth and everybody's fussing at each other. And they were a lot of fun back then because you had two clearly votes over here and two on another, and Trimble was always the toss-up. They might go either way. But at one point, South Oldham suggested that we do the Courier-Journal Litkin House to vote the district. And we were opposed to it. And here's why. You look at these RPI scores as you're sitting there, Metcalfe County's near the bottom again, and that's where we're usually going to be. Our schedule's put in place already. We're going to play Cumberland 2 times. We're going to play Clinton 2 times. We're going to play Russell 2 times. We're going to play Monroe a couple times. Small schools aren't going to go out and play a bunch of 6A teams every night. They're going to play a few. And so by just chance, basically, your strength of schedule is never going to be what a Warren Central's can be. And so it's almost, when you look at this, the only 2 schools in the 600s or 6,000s or whatever they're showing is Bowling Green and Warren Central. Everybody else is in the 5s, and then you get down, and it's a list of small schools, basically, with Warren East, who's struggling a little, in the bottom. So if RPI is what you're going by, it does look like Bowling Green and Warren Central, but I'm not sure I'm a fan of this RPI business.
This is almost like the discussion I think that took a day plus with Michael DeCourcy and other people you had on Twitter about the small school opportunities again.
It did. We're gonna do a KY Sports Guys pod, and we're gonna talk about that some as well when you start talking about strength of schedule and so forth.
Well, if you look at the high school rankings and they're using RPI, and I think at one point in time, I know with the Litkin House it was this way, the margin of victory played a lot into that too. So if you played a team and beat them by 40, you got more points on the Litkin House, which I don't know exactly how that plays into it. But the interesting thing about the stats that's listed on the website at the High School Athletic Association is for the 4th region, Metcalfe County has scored more points in every game. When you add up their total points, they're leading the region in points made of everybody in the region. Bowling Green scored 668 out of their 11 games, and the Metcalfe County's 12 games, we scored 835. We're leading the region. Now, having said that, what's also probably not the best in the world is we're also leading the region in the most points allowed.
Mm-hmm.
So we're scoring 835, but we give up 815.
And the fact that it's only a 20-point difference, the Hornets have played 12 games, and 11 of them could have went either way.
Exactly.
You're looking at a team that could be 11-1, 12-0, really, or you're looking at a team that could be 1-11.
Yep, you're exactly right. So looking at the points and everything that they put on there and what they do, and match play, plays into that. I'm not sure how those rankings mean anything, but having said that, they've moved Bowling Green up on the RPI above Warren Central at this time. So, but now that's the boys, and I still think what we said a couple of weeks ago on the first podcast is there. It's still wide open. I think you can take out of the 17 teams in the region, I think you can pick 10 teams and say any of those 10 can walk away with. Some of your teams, I think, are following to the bottom, but I still think it's a 10 or 12 region chance right now.
It's closer than maybe perhaps it's been in a long time. There's more parity than there has been in a long time. Still, you're looking at what? Since 2001, since a team not in the Bowling Green District has won the region. So until something changes there, you still have to look to the Bowling Greens and to the Warren Centrals. Quickly, we have about 5 or 6 minutes left. Let's talk about the girls' side, and I think you're going to see similar themes as we go forward. You look at the various districts. I'm going to start with this. I'm not hating on them by any means, but a team that has surprised me following them in the Ryherd scorebook there, what is Ryherd scoreboard, scorebook, either way, is Logan County. They have 4 starters back. They have a center who's pretty solid. They have 2 guards in the Van Zant girls that are really good, quality players, one of which will play in college. And yet they're floating around 500 with some really bizarre losses, a loss to a Hart County team who's not bad, but a 20-point loss there. This is a team that seems to be floating around at a level that I'm surprised by. I thought they would be much better than what they are.
Well, I agree with what they have coming back. Now, contradicting a little bit of what you said, we're only talking about the 4th region, but if I'm playing in the 5th region and I'm a girls coach, I don't want to play Hart County the first game of the district.
Oh, you're right there. They've got some young kids that can play, and they did that to us too, so I get it.
But what's interesting with Logan County is they lost 4 games in their Christmas tournaments, 4 out of 6 in their Christmas tournament. Now, part of that was Woodford County, played Louisville Male, Hart County, then you got Grayson County. So it's interesting that they lost that many games, because going into those Christmas tournaments they were 5-2 or something. So now they're 5-6.
Christmas has a tendency to do that to you. Again, you can't beat Christmas apparently, unless who was it that beat Christmas?
Somebody.
You look at the rest of that district. Look, that's Logan's district to win. Franklin Simpson's okay. Russellville has a nice record, but I think their schedule has something to do with that. Todd's rebuilding. Logan County is going to come out of that, and it's just a matter of time. And that's been one of the things that has been to their advantage in the regional tournaments. They get down there, they know they're going, and that's where they are. You flip over to the Bowling Green. Warren Central is improved. They've got 3 wins. They're getting better all the time, but you're still looking at Bowling Green and South Warren. Those are your 2 heavy hitters in that district.
Oh, I agree. The only team out there that I would not write off in that district's Warren East. We saw them play first game of the season. I felt like our girls should have probably beat them here at home. We didn't shoot the ball particularly well that night. However, they've gone on and they've got 7 wins and 3 losses. They beat some really good teams. They had a really good Christmas. When you look at the 2 tournaments that they played in, they came out of those tournaments, 3-2. Most of them they played at Caverna with some teams at Caverna with St. Francis, and then they beat a Hart County team by 4. So I feel pretty confident that that's going to be a team that somebody needs to overlook when it comes to district play. But I do feel like Bowling Green and South Warren are probably the 2 teams to look at, even though when you look at the scoreboard rankings, they've got South Warren way down there about number 7. Bowling Green at the top, but they've got South Warren down there about number 7, behind Warren East and Russellville and Glasgow and Russell County. So
again, trust that RPI as much as you're willing to. But flip over real quick to the 15th. Traditionally an extremely strong girls basketball district. This year it looks like a 2-team race. Allen is rebuilding. There's no doubt about that. Monroe's getting better, but still probably a year or two away from being as good as they want to be. This is between Berrien and Glasgow.
Oh, hands down. There's no doubt whatsoever those are going to be your 1 and 2 seed. And tonight they play at Berrien, so it'll be interesting to see how that comes out for Berrien County. The next 2 or 3 games, if you look at Berrien County's schedule, they got Glasgow, then they got Bowling Green, and then they got Warren Central, and then followed up by Warren East. So their next 4 games will tell us a whole lot. So next Friday when we do another podcast, we'll be able to tell after they've played 2 games, when they've played Bowling Green and Glasgow, we'll be able to tell where this is going to lie and how that's going to work out. But it's clearly a 2-dog race over there. No pun intended there with the Scotties. But then you move to the 16th. And
2-team race again. Let's be honest about it. Our record, Metcalf's record's not real great. 3-0 in the district, 0-6 outside the district, but still with a win over Russell, who's had a really nice start. I thought Russell might struggle, but the new coach has done a good job. They're winning some games. But Metcalf 3-0, Russell again stronger. Clinton and Cumberland are both getting better, but they're both still rebuilding and in the process of trying to get where they want to get. Clinton's best player, Brayley Mann, struggled with an injury, may be out all year, just kind of hit or miss there. So some of their fortunes will depend on whether she can get back and get healthy. But you're looking at Russell, you're looking at Metcalf, and I would wrap up with this. I think all these districts, you can almost look crystal ball and say, here are your 2 teams. Now, who the winner is, who the runner-up is, maybe not. You're right about the Bowling Green, where maybe a Greenwood or a Warren East might sneak in and do some damage. But what it does set up when you look at it and go through it is it sets up another really intriguing regional tournament. And unlike the boys, the girls region in the past, you've had Russell win it. You've had Monroe win it. You've had Berrien win it. You've had Glasgow win it. It's not been dominated by any particular, and you go back far enough, Franklin Simpson and so forth, by any particular district in the 4.
So are you telling me that in the girls' side, first week of January, you're ready to throw out there and just pick the 8 teams that you know?
I think you can just about do it. I really do. I think you can just about do it. And to be honest, I'm not trying to downplay anybody or count anybody out. But I don't think it would take a major surprise for anything to shift other than maybe in that Bowling Green district. Now, having said that, y'all have been around a long time. You get to district play and crazy things happen.
This sounds like election night coverage, by the way. We're taking a major shift.
Yes, we're gonna declare.
Then we're gonna have a recanvass
Yes, exactly.
at the end of the season. But I do think if you ask the same question we ask about the boys, and quickly looking through this, your teams, it may be very difficult. Teams that's on the rise. I think Logan County has played well of late, and other than that, your other teams have pretty much taken care of business like they should. Your Bowling Green, your Warren, South Warren, and then Greenwood of late has played. You got Glasgow and Berrien played well of late. Russell County's, they're 5-1. They've played well of late. But then your sleeper team, I'm going to be a homer again, because I think what makes us a excellent sleeper team to make a run at the district and a run at the region is if we make shots. Mm-hmm. And now everybody's going to laugh at me when they listen to this podcast. Well, but it's critical for us. If we make 3-point shots like we're capable of making, we're going to be difficult to beat now. But that also can get us beat. Mm-hmm. If we shoot 20% from the 3-point line, we're going to lose to anybody. Mm-hmm. We won't make it out of the district. Mm-hmm. So I think that makes us but for us, the key is you got to be 1 or 2 in the district. Mm-hmm. Metcalf, you can't, you don't need to get down there to that 3 or whatever. You got to be 1 or 2, and let's see what things happen. And right now they're sitting pretty good because the best basketball they've played is in district play.
That's it. That's exactly right, guys. We put about 30 minutes in. Yes, sir.
I just want to say I may not be here next Friday to do this, one of the things coming up a week from now, Glasgow back in the Class A, is going to change the dynamics of things a little bit. It's going to make for some interesting games.
Glasgow is on a 2-year hiatus because of enrollment. It fluctuates and goes back and forth. Glasgow back in, and you're right on the boys and the girls side. That makes a huge difference. We're really running a little short of time, but in a minute or less, let's take a look at this 4th Region All-A, boys and girls. The draw, Clinton and Glasgow on the boys' side. That's the premier first-round matchup. That's really the side that's going to be toughest to get out of. Those two, Metcalf, Todd. I like Metcalf there, obviously. And then up in the other side, it's Russellville, Monroe, and Cumberland. Thoughts real quick on either the boys or the girls All-A.
I like Cumberland to come out of that top in the boys' side.
And they're hosting.
They're hosting. They're athletic. I think that Cumberland-Russellville game will be an excellent game with both teams' athleticism. Russellville, I think, has got a new coach down there, and they've got some things going and headed in the right direction. Then on the bottom side, you got to look. That Glasgow-Clinton game is going to be the game of the tournament. I think Metcalf will come out of that bottom. So it's a tough road for the Metcalf, Clinton, Todd, and Glasgow to come out of that bottom. But in my opinion, whoever comes out the bottom, I think wins a Class A.
Here's a scary prediction. I know who I want to win it. I'll be clear on that. But Cumberland at home, motivated and ready to go with the easier side, to be real honest. I would not be shocked if the Cumberland County boys were able to win this All-A tournament. Obviously, I'm hopeful that the Hornets win it, but I wouldn't be shocked because Clinton-Glasgow is going to be a battle. Metcalf should win. Whoever wins the Glasgow-Clinton game, that's going to be a battle. And then you're going to show up on the other guy's home court and maybe a little fresher team. We'll see. On the girls' side, look, I think Glasgow's the prohibitive favorite. Our girls should advance. It should be Glasgow, Metcalf in the semifinals. And what you said is accurate. If we can make 10, 12 threes, keep the big kids off the glass, make their bigs run up and down the floor, you have a chance. On the other side, you would think Russellville, based on records, would come out.
I think you're right. I think the winner of the girls' 4th region is coming from that Glasgow Metcalf second-round game.
The bracket of death, is that what we call it?
I think that's what we're going to have to call it. Guys, I've enjoyed it. We'll come back again hopefully next week and do another one. But, again, 30 minutes goes by quick when you start talking some hoops and having a good time. Appreciate y'all very much. Anything else before we depart?
No, enjoyed it.
No.
All right, the Stock Tony, Chris Huffman. I'm Coach Jay Hurt, and we'll be back again for your 4th Region Round Ball Report.